Well, friends, unfortunately, Spiel doesn't last the couple of months that I would need in order to be able to interview everybody, but it lasts long enough for me to bring you some really, really cool interviews with some really, really cool people about some really, really cool games. So, sit back, relax, and get ready for more gaming goodness from Germany. Welcome to GMS Magazine, das Spiel 2013. In this edition, we talk to Golden Egg Games, the Historical Games Factory, Hobby World, and Aiello. We find out how an electronic die is changing tablet gaming, and talk to Ted Alspach of Bezier Games. But first, I feel absolutely no shame whatsoever to say that AEG is one of my darling companies I like very much because they keep doing awesome stuff after awesome stuff. Because they have awesome people like Mr. Marking here, who is an awesome human being. Are you still the Vice Director of All Things Cool?
That was the title you gave me at the UK Games Expo, right? Was Director of All Things Cool. I'm still working with our CEO, John Zinzer, to see if he's prepared to make that my job title, but he hasn't caved in yet.
Give him my number, I'll talk to him.
You talk to him, you talk to him.
In more seriousness, you guys have been very, very busy and you've got a few releases. The main one that I've known is Canalis. What can you tell me about it?
Canalis is the fourth in our line of Tempest games, and it's I suppose I would describe it as a tile laying game, but it's not like a traditional tile laying game where everything has to fit together. You're trying to create a series of networks with workers and sort of manufacturing and processing of materials, which you're building in a new area of the town, and you're trying to link things up with canals, and you're building locks on the canals to charge other people when they come through, and so you're trying to create a network that services your interests and maybe hampers the other players' interests. So you're effectively the main sort of power broker there. You're the one who gets the best network system in place.
The whole look and feel of the game so far looks very much like Dominaria, Courtier, Mercante. It's obviously based in the same city of Tempest that you just mentioned. How is the game linked to the other games?
All of the games are sort of linked chronologically, so they just feature a different aspect. I think this game is very much about a sort of a power play in an as yet untapped resource or an untapped area of the city. So while the Queen's been arrested and the various characters in Dominaria are making plots and hatching things, there's obviously always an opportunity for how can I say it, entrepreneurs and.
That's a very polite way to put it.
Yes, there is always an opportunity where a vacuum exists for somebody to fill it, and that's the idea of Tempest, right? It's designed as a sandpit where, if you can tell part of the story that interests us and is going to interest people playing a game, then we want to use that.
That sounds good. Now, moving away from that, and only because it's a game that I mercilessly bid you at the time at the UK Games Expo, and it's another of my darling ones. Sorry, I have to mention this. A smash up, the obligatory Cthulhu deck.
The obligatory Cthulhu set, yes. Smash Up is still doing fantastic for us, right? I mean, it everybody's a fan of Cthulhu, right? I mean, that's the thing. It is, I think, a game that is essentially about memes. You've got to look and go, and I mean, I hope that the way we've done it and the way we've introduced it, it kind of feels like a cool Cthulhu thing in terms of the setting and the way the game plays out. But we've not taken it too seriously either. We've tried to retain that sort of humour and light-heartedness that we have about Smash Up, which is why it's called the obligatory Cthulhu set, right? You know, because it is taking that concept of this is just fun. So that came out very recently. We're working on another one that's going to be in the not too distant future, but I can't say too much about that. But there will be another one coming out sometime first half of 2014, right? We're in 2013. I lost track of which year we were in for a second. So yeah, we are still working on other stuff for Smash Up. It's doing really, really well for us. We've got a number of partners all over the world. It's come out in multiple languages now, and obviously, you know, we're over here in Europe, and so it's been doing well for some of our European partners too. So it's doing fantastically. It's doing fantastically.
Another game that's done fantastically well for you guys, and understandably so, it's being Love Letter.
Love Letter. Love Letter.
How did you manage to pack so much game in 16 cards? Seriously.
So I think you probably ask Seiji Kanai, who's the genius behind it, right? It has just taken off. It's been a wonderful experience. It was, I mean, the whole thing was one of those kind of happy coincidences in terms of how we saw the game. But I mean, I will say that John and I, when we were in Japan, we literally played the game once, and we almost played it on the walk. We sort of, you know, we saw the game, we played it once, and there was just that instant thing for both of us at the same time, where we just went, this is so clever, this is so cool, you could play this anywhere. I mean, we played it in the taxi on the way to conventions. You can carry it in your pocket and play it. You know, I've got visions of people stood in queues waiting for buses and trains, whipping out a copy of Love Letter and saying, "Hey, anybody want to play?" You could literally do that. It's, I think it is that perfect combination of fun, strategy, a little bit of bluff, a little bit of tactics or strategy, a little bit of memory, and a little bit of reading the other person. I think that's a good thing. I always tell John he's got his princess face on. So I look at him, you have got your princess face on. I know that face.
I mean, we must admit, it is very satisfying to drop the card and say, you discard, and the other player goes, is the princess. It's how much more fun can a game get?
I know. It's always the most satisfying thing, right? It is. I mean, it's beautiful. It's quick. It's light. It's easy, but it has enough depth and enough challenge in it to really make you want to just keep going back and going back and going back. And you always hear a lot of laughter at the table when people are playing Love Letter, or at the table, at the bar, in the aisle of the convention, wherever it is they happen to be playing, right? Because you know.
What do you guys have in the pipeline apart from that mysterious deck?
Yeah, I mean, the other game that's been massively successful for us, because I would love to be able to pick up a copy and show you, but they're all gone, is Trains.
Oh, right, yes.
Trains has done fantastically well. It seems to be really, really popular. It's a game again based on the deck building concept, but there is a hex board which represent two different areas of Japan. And you use the deck building mechanism to lay down rail tracks, to build stations, to buy victory points, to try and lay rails into remote areas. And the deck building mechanism is used really nicely to to create that sense of expanding a rail network. And it also gives an opportunity, because where you go on the board affects what other people can do and makes their life a bit more difficult. So you are sort of plotting out routes and trying to make things difficult for other players. And I think one of the really great things about it is that a deck builder always has that challenge that it's a different set of cards each time, which in and of itself is interesting, and I think has always been the interest in deck builders, is you never quite know what the setup's going to be. But in this one, you also have a a different deck each time, and how that's going to interact with what the players do on the board. It's been hugely popular here at Essen. It was hugely popular at Gen Con.
And you've run out of them.
We're sold out for this show, I'm afraid, yes.
That is amazing. That is seriously amazing. This is the second day of the show and you've sold out on that game. That is fantastic.
Yeah, I just wish we'd managed to bring some more, right? We don't like disappointing people.
Hindsight is always coming late, mate.
Hindsight is, yeah, yeah, we do apologise if anybody misses out of the show, but obviously, I mean, it is out there and available now. And yeah, again, we've done it with a number of partners in different countries. So, yeah, Trains has been huge, and I think that's going to be, I think people like that. If you like deck builders and you like train games, or even if you like train games or deck builders, then it's a winner, right? It's a winner, yeah.
Well, Mark, absolutely best of luck for the rest of the show, because you're obviously doing fantastically well, and I hope that you sell everything else, because might as well.
Well, absolutely. I'm sure looking around me, we're going to do pretty well. I notice the smash up pile seems to be going down quickly as well, so yeah. And I promise you one thing, I will beat you next time we play at UK Games Expo.
You will expect from a golden egg lots of cool stuff coming out, and that is exactly what's happening with golden egg games, because Mr. Elad Gonstein here has been really busy with quite a few games. Elad, you have a huge offering. Are you the only designer for the company?
Yes, I'm the sole designer, and mostly I do also the development, and I'm also the publisher. And do all the other stuff.
So basically, you don't sleep, because to get all this thing out, that must be very time consuming.
Yeah, it is. When we work with the manufacturer in China, I have distribution in the US, so I need to wake up to the US market. Also wake up 4 hours later for the morning of the Chinese, and then talking into German in mid-EU time zone. So it was like I was sleeping like 3 hours. But now it's going better, coming better.
Well, now, I mean, now you had your games out. I must compliment you on the production. They seriously look terrific. And if you've been doing the whole thing, that's quite amazing.
Thank you very much. We tried. We took a big project, our first game, Fallen City of Carez, which is a big, epic fantasy game about a city and adventures and a lot of stuff going there. So it was a big project, and we learned from that. And when we taken a new project, it's become easier because they are smaller and can be much more simplified. But we would want to keep the art top-notch, quality top-notch every game.
How do you go about choosing the art that goes into your games? Because the styles from Alliances to City Council to the City of Carez is very different. How do you go about commissioning that?
Basically, in Fallen City of Carez, it was a combination of many artists, graphic designer, but we moved on with some of them to Alliances. So we have the same illustrator and graphic design team that we worked for. We worked with Antonio, Papa Antonio, which did Fallen City of Carez and Alliances, and we worked with his wife, Giota Voggia, on. She did the graphic design on the City Council, and then she also illustrated. So this is the first game. So we have guidelines about how we want to take the game artistically, and how much details we want to put in each and every component. Because we are we're breaking down, each cube is like unique in our games. It doesn't look like other games. So this is yeah, it's a multi-night, many nights of discussion and sketches and deciding about how we want to the apparel look of the game. It's a big factor for us.
But it's paying off. I mean, City Council, which I believe is the latest release that you've kind of had, is looking gorgeous. What can you tell me about the game? What's City Council all about?
City Council, well, people don't just judge the game about the box, outside the box, because it looks good, but the actual game, it's really unique and innovative because it's a negotiation game with a confined theme of a city building game, which is quite odd because most of city building games are about building your own city or maybe building buildings you own in a city. We take it outside, like a role of a politician doing more city planning. And your action will reflect in reaction. So the game reacts to your action, which is a really unique feeling. So if you build a school, you actually see how the citizen become smarter, per se, and more sophisticated, and they have more sophisticated demands, which makes the game ever changing.
That sounds, I mean, that sounds really interesting, and it does sound indeed like it offers something really different from other city building or civilization building games. Where did the idea for all these mechanics and mechanisms came from?
Well, I always wanted to do a city building game, but I thought about it a long time when I realized that it's finished. Everybody done the same thing and over and over and over and over. So I wanted to think outside of the box per se, and think about what really cool about building a city is running it, and how we can involve in city planning and making the game more social. As most of my games that I designed is more, it has high level of interaction. This has the most because it's a negotiation game. And we want to confine it in a Euro style worker placement, but the worker placement is just a reaction, it's just a mechanics. It's not the core of the game. The core is the players. We focus our games on the players and not on the game. So players do their actions and the game reacts, not the game tells you what to do with the confined rules. So this is what we're trying to do in all our games, and we hope that we will continue bringing innovative games, not common games.
Well, sir, that sounds indeed very, very good to me. Now, if people want to get their hands on it and want to buy it, how can they do that?
Well, City Council, we just got it on Wednesday, so very first copies. The printers just noticed that in a week they finish all our first print run. Basically, it runs in Kickstarter right now, and we got funded in like 2 days. So we paid already to the printer to print all the copies. So the print run is running really fast, and we hope that next month it will be in our warehouse, so Kickstarter backers can get their rewards, and then we will move on to distribution.
So hopefully for Christmas?
Yeah, for sure. Before Christmas. Way before Christmas.
Fantastic. Ilad, thank you so much for your time. I'm really, really thrilled and pleased to see how well you guys seem to be doing, loving the looks and feel of your games. I can't wait to see what else you're going to come up with.
214 is going to be big. We have big plans. We want to go like exponentially. 212, it was one game. 213, 2 games. We are for a four game into 2014.
That's quite a lot. I really hope you get some sleep.
No, it's not important. Games are more important.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
A veteran face of Spiel Piotr Suchowski, but not a veteran company of Spiel. You have changed companies recently and you are now working for Historical Games Factory. Tell me a little bit, how did the change come about? Because you were very well set up with Kuznia Gear.
Well, my former company that I visited Spiel with quite a few times earlier is now unfortunately going serious ownership problems, and the two co-owners of Kuznia Gear just split it into two separate companies. And here I am with Historical Games Factory. Guys I've known for many years because we're from the same city in Poland, and finally we managed to work together, which is quite awesome.
And actually working together very well indeed, because you have, I mean, the company is very young, but you already have quite a nice selection of games that are doing really well. I did do the unboxing for Sigismundus Augustus and the review, which is looking lovely, apart from the pawns. But it's looking lovely.
We know that.
I was quite vocal about that, viewers. But tell me a little bit about the company itself. What is the ethos behind a Historical Games Factory?
Historical Games Factory was established like a year and a half ago, and the two people behind the company are Adam Kwapiński and Michał Sieńko, the two co-founders of the company, who are also history students, doctoral students at history department, and also heavy gamers. So their two passions like mixed together, and this is how it all like came to life.
Now you have at the moment Sigismundus Augustus, Siu Machina, but you have something else, because I've seen more games around. Tell me a little bit about the range of games that you have.
We focus on history as a theme, but the range of the games in terms of mechanics we use and so on is really wide, because we've got a very heavy strategy politics game, a card game about ancient gods fighting for world domination. We've got one small card game, a fast-paced 30 minutes gameplay, and also one game about a worker's life in a truck factory in Poland, 1980s, deep communism, secret identities, hidden game goals.
What is it about you? You always tend to have at least one game with a really humorous theme.
Well, you can look at that two ways, because communism in Poland was not actually a very funny thing.
That's true.
But now we are definitely entitled to make some fun about it. And if you look at games from Poland coming out like within last 2-3 years, you will see quite a lot of games about the communist times and being satirical about the communist times.
Now, in terms of the history ethos of the company, how historically accurate are your games?
100%.
That's quite a bold statement.
Yeah, but this is one of the factors that make the games unique. Because all the games we prepare are, you know, done with very thorough historical research. We consult professional historians about the things. And for example, if you have a look at our newest game, The Outcast Heroes, which is about Polish underground resistance fighting against communist government, all the artworks on character cards are based on actual photos of actual people.
That is quite impressive. I mean, that is really impressive. However, are the games educational or are the games for gamers?
They are definitely, most of all, games for gamers, but we try to make them at least a bit educational. One German reviewer who wrote a review of Sigismundus Augustus stated that he already learned more about history of Poland from this game than totally in school. So it was very nice for us.
No, it sounds very good. I mean, my colleague Michael did the review for Sigismundus Augustus, and although he didn't gel with the game himself, even then he did manage to appreciate that it's a very, very solid game with some really very interesting mechanisms. How are you guys going about deciding what mechanisms fit the historical theme of the game that you're designing?
Well, this is a really tough task, to be honest, because not every mechanics will fit every theme. So the work on the Outcast Heroes took us quite a few months, and the game was to be published in Poland in September. So we started working on it for the first time, like at the beginning of the year. And finally got a product that we are really happy with, that meets our own needs. Because in game design, in our team, it's most important for the game to meet our own requirements.
What's next for you guys? What's going to happen with the company?
We're still a young developing company. We're looking for distributors abroad and just want to show our games to anyone who would potentially be interested in them. We have some plans, obviously we have some plans for new games, but I think it's too early now to reveal them. We managed to crowdfund the German edition of Theomachy, which was actually the first Polish board game that was successfully crowdfunded on a foreign platform, because it was funded in Germany. And we collaborated with the Spiel team from Germany. It was a really good collaboration, so probably we will continue maybe another Kickstarter project, another crowdfunding project, and certainly we're not giving up. We're going forward.
Oh, and I sincerely hope so. Now, until that distribution is set, which hopefully will be soon, very, very soon indeed, if people want to buy your games, what's the best option for them?
The best option is probably if you are just an end customer, a gamer who wants to buy a game, probably you should contact just us directly. If you want to buy bigger amounts, if you own a shop, you're a retailer, just contact our Polish distributor. And probably we will soon build a network of at least a few companies abroad that we cooperate with.
Very much
hopefully after this year's session.
Yes, indeed. I very, very much hope that you'll manage that, because so far, I mean, for a company that is as young as you guys are, the games are looking really solid. The ones I've played are playing very solid, and you obviously are very passionate about the games that you're having. So I am going to wish you all the success in the world, because I really would love you to actually see you succeed massively.
Thanks a lot. It's really all your support, all your good words are greatly appreciated.
Anything for you guys. Best of luck. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
You might have heard him in the podcast, you might have even backed the Kickstarter project for Septicon, and now this is the man himself. This is Timofey Bokarev, who is the person behind, or one of the people behind, Hobby World. You are the biggest board game production company in Russia.
Yes, that's right. We operate already for more than 10 years. We're one of the first, and yes, we have the leading position, and we bring to Russian people most interesting games which we take around the world.
Now, you recently had the Kickstarter for Septicon, which got funded and did really well. What was the experience of Kickstarter for you guys?
Yeah, actually it was our second project. The first one, the game Berserk, and we are very proud that, for example, with Berserk, after Kickstarter, we already have a very good deal with Asmodee, and they now represent our game Berserk worldwide, and you could find this game on their booth. And I hope that Septicon will have something similar with his Destiny. And of course, we are going in the future also use Kickstarter, because for us it's very good place to test our game, to find what the people like about it, what not, etc., etc.
And Septicon, I mean, it looks an absolutely lovely game. That retro sort of video gamey look absolutely lovely, and it seems to play very well indeed. The Kickstarter succeeded. The production is coming out. Is the worldwide distribution of Septicon going to be at the same time as the distribution for the backers?
Yes, right. But actually, for example, in this event on Essen, we are speaking with publishers around the world if they would like to take Septicon, right? And there is already some positive answers. And because we made plastic figures for this game, we need sufficient amount of time. So we promised to our backers that the game will be available on May of the next year. So to this time, I'm positive that we will be able to send it also to normal sales channels, this game, yeah.
Now, what else are you guys working on at the moment? Because you have a huge booth, very busy, with lots of games. What else does Hobby World have to offer? What do you want to be known by?
Yeah, we have a lot of good, interesting games. One of them, World of Tanks. It's a card game based on very, very popular online game, World of Tanks. And it's a very simple but interesting deck building game. Besides this, we present our new game called Hollywood. It's a draft game, also card game with draft, and it's very interesting in terms of the team. It's each player should make his own movie empire, and it's fun, and I like this. And another very important for us game is Desktopia. Desktopia, it's a flicking game where you need not only think but also make precise flicking with your finger. But strategy here is much more important than your coordination or eye control, etc. And there is a very interesting world. There is a very interesting setting, and we played it already for more than 1 year. It's successfully published in Russia, and now we also in January we're going to launch it on the Kickstarter, and then probably it will be also selling in sales channels.
Fingers crossed indeed. Timofey, it sounds like you guys spend a long time playing games before they come out. What's the average length of the play testing that you guys do?
Yeah, of course it depends on the game, yes, and its complexity. If it's card game, it took us less than 1 year to make the game. With the Septicon exception, it was created during 12 years, because the author has the courage to go to Moscow and show it only 2 years ago. Now, yes, it's 1 year. Yes, and production of it was complicated. Took us 2 years to make it, to final test, to make settings, etc. Desktopia also complicated project. It was more than 1 year, and we made it. So it really depends on the complexity of the game, or if game we create from scratch, or we take game from the already authors and author which already tested before. It really depends, but usually it's 1 or 1.5 years.
Which is a lot longer than most companies do.
Yeah, right. I heard somewhere that people usually, on average, game need 3 years from the idea to the to completion, but it depends.
Now, you guys obviously produce games in Russia. You're out expanding to get the games out. But are you also bringing games into Russia? Are you licensing games produced in the US or the rest of Europe?
Of course. This is our strength, because we are working for many years with Cosmos, Fantasy Flight, Game Workshop, and many others, very biggest producers and resellers of the game around the world. And we are proud that we create hobby for many Russian people. And before we only know chess and Monopoly, but now the situation is completely different.
Now, if people want to take a look at your games and buy them, what is the distribution like at the moment? How can they get hold of your games in the US or the rest of Europe?
It actually depends on the game and depends on who is our distributor is. When we're talking regarding the Berserk, of course, for example, Asmodee will use all their sales channels and it will be available in all online shops and normal ground-based shops, etc. It really depends. And for example, another our license, Mind Maze, it's some kind of a detective game or storytelling game. We license it for 4 different companies, including Pegasus and many others. And depends of the who will sell it on each language. Depends of where it will be possible to buy. So, for example, Mind Maze will be launched in 4 different languages by 4 different companies.
Well, Timothy, I'm going to let you go because there are some people longing to play the games. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Best of luck at the show because obviously you're doing fantastically well. I hope it keeps coming.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for the interview.
You know, there are a lot of stands out there in Spiel. It's really, really massive. But very, very few look as cool and as yellow as the booth from Yellow. And I'm now with Matthew Bonon. Matt, thank you so much for seeing me today. Man, what a lovely, lovely booth you're having here. It's looking absolutely seriously gorgeous. I'm very busy.
Yeah, we've been really busy. We're showing 4 or 5 different games, and the people seem to love them. So they're really waiting for the tables to empty so they can play the game. Mm-hmm. And we're really happy with our location in the fair. And yeah, we went all yellow this year because, well, we are yellow. Yeah. And it's really cool because people they recognize us. You know, they say, "Oh, it's yellow." Mainly because King of Tokyo, people know King of Tokyo so well now. So yeah, we're really happy to be here.
Okay. Let's talk about King of Tokyo very, very quickly because you have other games I dare say more interested in, to be honest. King of Tokyo Halloween. What is it adding to the game? Hopefully a lot of fun.
Yes, a lot of fun. What it adds is 2 new monsters. The Pumpkin Jack that you can see behind me and Boogie Woogie. It's a sort of boogeyman. It's kind of cool. Both monsters come with their own pile of evolution cards. Mm-hmm. That's a new mechanism that was introduced in the Power Up expansion. Right. And their evolution cards are a bit tricky because they can give them to other monsters. Mm-hmm. They're actually bad, you know, like tricks. It's Halloween. And when it's triggered, something bad happens to the other player and he can pass it along to another one. So these bad evolutions keep going from a player to another around the table.
I like that.
Yeah, that's and the other new mechanism introduced by Halloween is the costume cards. Okay. It's power cards that allow you to dress up as a princess or a pirate, or it's Halloween, so you want a monster to be dressed up with a cool costume. They are power cards that can be bought the usual way. They are pretty powerful, but they can be stolen from you. If someone attacks you with 3 claws, he actually can take a costume from you. So those 2 keep going from a player to another. For example, the zombie one allow a player to stay alive even when he's been defeated. But if someone steals it from you, then you're really dead. Yeah. And then you also have a new set of 6 dice that are arranged because it's Halloween.
Had to be. Absolutely perfect. Now, the one I really am very, very much looking forward to finding out about is Baba Yaga and 3 Little Pigs. Okay, I've already seen somebody playing Baba Yaga, and they were doing all sorts of hand gestures, and the game looks really, really good fun. Please do tell me about it. What is it all about?
So, Baba Yaga is the second board game of the collection started with 3 Little Pigs. It's games based on famous tales. So the first one, Three Little Pigs, everybody know the tale. Baba Yaga is a Slavic Russian tale about a witch who abducts children, and so you play as little children that actually try to escape the witch. So you're lost in the forest, and you're not the standard little kids helpless. You can cast spells, but you have to find ingredients in the forest. So when your turn comes, you flip a spell card, and it shows 4 ingredients. You have to find 3 by flipping over the forest tiles. The forest tiles have clues on it, but sometimes they look alike, so you have to pay attention. But while you're doing this, the other player actually acts as a human timer, moving the figurine of the witch. So at turns, they just move the figurine 1 tile forward as fast as they can, and back and forth. And when it's the figurine is back on the starting tile, your turn is over. So you have to turn the tiles really quick, and they have to play really quick too. And so the arms come in the way, like if you like entangled in the forest, looking for the ingredients. And it's a lot of fun. And actually, the spells, if you manage to cast them, they have cool effects. Like you can scare another player, so he has to play like this for the other turn, or you can shrink it, so he has to put his fist on the table, on his chin on his fist, so he's all small. So there's a lot of fun power like this. It's like the Three Little Pigs. It's a game meant for the family, so it's fun to play with the kids, but it comes with 2 different levels of difficulties. You can play them with older kids or even adults, and it's really fun. 3 Little Kids were shown at Gen Con in Indy, and we had a lot of really good feedback from people just enjoying the game and having fun with the game, even if the game seems a bit childish. Even adults can have fun with the game, and we hope it's the same for Baba Yaga.
Now, those 2, they look amazing. They are not the only hotness you're having here, because I've seen through the corner of my eye something to do with the Z word.
Yes. Yeah, Zombie 15 it's just a preview here. We don't sell it on the fair because it will be ready at the beginning of 2014. But it's really a game that is worth trying. So we have a lot of people playing the game. We have 2 tables, 4 players, and a new game every 30 minutes, because it's 15 minutes explanation, 15-minute game. It actually has a soundtrack with a music that is getting more tense during the game. And every 40 seconds, you have a loud shout, zombie shout, that tells you to add zombies on the game. It's cooperative. You have to play really fast at your turn because you have 15 minutes to complete your mission. On the demo game, it's just running across town and finding keys to open some gates. It's really stressful. It's really exhausting. All the players at the end of the game, they're just exhausted, and all of them are delighted. They find the game really cool, but it's really tense. And basically, the rules, we kept the rules really simple so that it can be played really fast and you don't have to overthink. But you still have really important choices to make during the game. So if you watch a game, sometimes you just look at someone and say, why is he doing that? It's stupid, but it's just because he's playing with so much pressure that it's really hard to make the good call in this situation.
Now, for the cynics out there, a lot of people say that there are an awful lot of zombie games already and this theme is overdone. Now, I personally don't care. You give me a zombie and I love it. What does Zombie 15 do that is slightly different so it can add something to the genre?
It's not slightly different. It's really different. The main difference is that it tries to put you in a situation. I've never been in a zombie invasion before, but
it's good fun.
But I think it would feel like this. It would, it's a lot of zombie games that we actually love. You just have time to think. You say, okay, the zombies are coming here, so you could go there, and I could stay and spend an action point to fight this one, and this is fun. This is awesome. This one, you don't have time to just stand back and think about things. You just have to play really fast, really fast. And so we really created rules that make you feel the pressure. And for example, the zombie shout, it makes new zombies appear on the tile of the active player. So if you don't have any weapons, you want to play even faster. Just like in real life, if you're helpless, you want
Real life indeed. Yeah.
yeah, you want to rush. If you're comfortable with a lot of weapons, you're more okay. So you can take a little bit more time to think things. Another example I can give you is the loud weapon, the firearms. In every zombie games, when you use a firearm, it attracts zombies because it's so loud. Here we couldn't have a rule where you have to think things or roll dice or whatever. So what we did is when you use a weapon, you just remove a certain amount of zombies from your tile, and when it's a firearm, there's one of them that goes into a box. So it's really quick. You take the zombies, you throw one into a box, and you keep playing. But then when a zombie shout appears, you flip a card. It can tell you to add 1, 2, 3, 4 zombies, or to add all the zombies in the box back into the game. So if you went like Rambo style with a lot of firearms, you will have a huge horde coming at you later in the game. So it's really quick to play. You don't have to overthink the rules, but all you expect from a zombie game is in the game and more.
And when is it coming out? Because I just want to buy that. So when is it coming out?
We are aiming for January or February release. Yeah.
Not long to wait.
Not long to wait. What we're actually trying to do with the game is a kind of different Kickstarter campaign. We will do the game anyway. So we're not trying to raise money to know if we're doing the game or not. But the game cost a lot. Developing the game cost a lot because there's so many illustrations that are so awesome. But there's a lot of miniatures. There's maybe like 100 miniatures in the game. So we have the mold to produce extra. So what we're trying to do is tell the people, tell the backers, the game could be in stores for, I don't know, $80 or $90. Buy it $50 on Kickstarter, and you'll have a game cheaper. And we could sell the game for $60 in stores after that, because all the development costs would be by Kickstarter. Yeah. So it will not be a Kickstarter campaign with a lot of bonuses, a lot of stretch goals. There'll be some, but we want all the stretch goals and the bonus unlocked to be in the game, even in the store. So the main benefit would be to just buy the game really cheap, and it would allow us to make the game cheaper, cheaper in the store. So we are going to work on the campaign, try to launch it sometime before the end of the year, and well, we hope people will like it. We're not sure because we haven't seen a lot of campaign like this on Kickstarter. Usually there's a lot of bonuses, and we don't want to go that way because we don't want to make two different level of players. We want the game to be a whole and the same for everyone. But we'll try.
Fingers crossed, because it sounds really interesting. The game sounds fantastic. I can see you doing fantastically well. So thank you so much. Best of luck for the rest of the show. I really hope it goes amazingly well.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
As you may or may not know, I am very skeptical when it's about board games and tablets. But I have today seen something that has seriously got me very, very excited. Dice Plus. Agnieszka, you're marketing director of this very innovative product. It's a die that works with a tablet. Tell me a little bit about it. How does it work?
Well, this is called Dice Plus, yeah. But this is actually not only dice; it's an electronic dice and a motion controller, yeah. So you have a collection of games which can be played with dice using tablet. Dice communicates with the tablet via Bluetooth and gives people extremely exciting experience, yeah, because you have a lot of games with which you can sit and play together with your friends, with your family, with the children. People get in contact with each other like in traditional board games, although it's a tablet, yeah. So you have both contact with new technologies, but also you have contact with traditional board games and all that is the best out of them, yeah, that you can take out of them. So, for example, you can take your tablet and the dice and the games together with you wherever you go, and you don't have to bother with all the boxes, but you have everything inside in one place, yeah? And it's just enough to look around and see how people are getting excited about every game that we have.
I tell you, I am getting excited, and it takes a lot to get me excited when it's about tablet products. Now, how robust is the die? Because I know some gamers can be pretty heavy-handed rolling dice, and if you give it to a child, it can take quite a beating. How have you built it to make sure that it's as durable as possible?
Well, it is actually, we say that it's the only technological device that has been designed to be thrown, yeah? Right. Because you can throw it thousands of times and it won't get destroyed. It is made of very perfectly designed materials, perfectly chosen materials. It is well balanced. It has the materials that allow it to be thrown on tablet and it doesn't destroy the screen. Yeah, when you throw the dice, it doesn't make too much noise to annoy everybody, because it's also important for the players. Yeah, it's safe for the children. Yeah, it has been tested, so everything is perfectly checked for children and perfectly safe for children, yeah?
And that's the thing, and you're absolutely right. When I was taking a look at the games being played, the die barely bounced and the die barely made a sound, and at no point I felt it could scratch the screen. How much testing did you have to do to achieve that? Because that's quite something.
We've made several product revisions before we decided to launch the final product, yeah. So it has been hardly tested. I mean, it has been deeply tested before it went to the mass production, yeah, by a group of engineers who was working on the dice, and it has been developed and tested extensively to make sure that it won't destroy and scratch the screen. No matter how strong you will throw it, yeah.
It works via Bluetooth. What tablets are compatible with this die? Is it just the iPad, or are Android tablets also able to use it?
It's compatible with iOS and Android. And when it comes to both of the systems, you just need to have Bluetooth, yeah, so that the dice could communicate somehow. And when we talk about iOS, this is iPad 3, iPad 4, and iPad Mini that cooperate, that are compatible with dice. Yeah.
In terms of the usability, how many games are out there at the moment?
There are 7 games that you can get for free right now. And there are many more that are available on in our Powerboard Games application that will either come soon or will come in 2014. Yeah, and these are very well-known IPs as well, including Hello Kitty, for example, including Once Upon a Time, Talisman, also games created by well-known board game designers such as Rainer Knizia, for example, and also very well-known traditional games like Backgammon that we have, that is the most popular, probably traditional and strategic game in 2 versions. one developed by the company that produces dice, and one by external developer. Yeah, and we also have different games that will be that are and will be developed by external developers, so that the amount of games will be growing constantly. We currently have around 200 developers that cooperate with us and develop games for DICE. So we believe the community of DICE Plus games will be growing.
That sounds really exciting. Now, at the moment, the die is just a D6. Can it be customized to have different icons for different kind of games? You know, if somebody wanted to have faces instead of numbers, is that something that could be done?
For now, the dice has the numbers ascribed to each face. Yeah, so it's not like that you can change the number which is on each of the sides, but it is done deliberately because it is actually protecting the players from cheating. Yeah, because you throw the dice, and like on the traditional dice, you have a number ascribed to each side. Yeah, so it's just enlightened, but by LED lights. Yeah, when you throw it, but it's ascribed. Yeah, to each of the sides. Yeah, so this is what we believe is the advantage of the dice. Yeah.
Okay. No, that's indeed very, very fair enough indeed. In terms of battery life, how many times can you roll it, and how do you charge it?
You charge it very easily. There is a micro USB port, yeah, and it's enough. The battery lasts for 20 hours, so you can play. You can have 20 hours of continuous play with dice, yeah. So it's very long time to play together, yeah, and to have.
That's really good.
Yeah.
One last question. If anybody out there is interested in getting their hands on the technology to actually develop for these dice, what's the best way to contact you so they can basically get into it?
We have a person responsible for contacts with developers, but probably the easiest way would be to use our contact form at our website, yeah, and then any request will be transferred to the proper person, yeah, to the appropriate person, yeah.
Perfect. Agnieszka, thank you so much for your time. I really cannot tell you how excited I am about this product. It looks lovely. I have already seen it works fantastic, and I cannot wait to see what else is going to be coming out from you guys, because that is really nice.
Yes, we know that, and we think that we are able to develop much more products that will be of the same level of quality and interest to people. Yeah, because this is what matters for us. That people were enjoying time together and playing together. This is our vision. This is our mission that we would like to provide to people, to make them play together, to make them enjoy time, and not forget what. All the games, where all the games were created for, yeah?
Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much. Ubiquitous, as in they are always here at Spiel, is Bezier Games. They every single time get something out seriously cool, and I have Ted here, who knows everything about the company, to tell me everything about every game that they have released today at Essen. Ted, the booth has been doing really fantastically well. So far, what has been the biggest seller at the Essen Spiel?
So it's Suburbia Inc., which is the expansion to Suburbia. That has sold at just an amazing number of copies. We brought 500 more than we wanted to. We probably won't sell out entirely, but we're going to be very close to it, which is amazing.
That's fantastic. What have you got out at Spiel this year? Have you got any new releases?
So the expansion to Suburbia that was brand new. We also have Ultimate Werewolf Inquisition, which was out earlier this summer, but we had to do a second printing just to have copies here for Essen. And what we brought here to Essen, we also sold out of. So we got rid of that. We also announced a brand new game called One Night Ultimate Werewolf, which we don't have to sell yet. We're just announcing it. We'll have it in a few months, by the end of the year or early next year. And that's gotten an amazing reception as well.
Okay, because I'm Spanish, anything with the word Inquisition is going to interest me for obvious reasons. So tell me a little bit more about Ultimate Werewolf Inquisition. What is it all about and how does it play?
Sure. So in regular Werewolf, it's a game where you have a lot of people playing. You have at least 7 or 8 people, and that go up to 20, 30, even 40 people playing. And it requires a moderator, and some players get eliminated throughout the night. It's a great game, but some people don't like some of those aspects, the length, the moderator, and the elimination. So Inquisition is a game that allows you to have a smaller number of players, as few as 3, up to 12. There's no moderator, and there's no elimination. Everybody plays till the end of the game. It's the same basic idea as Werewolf, where you have some of the players are werewolves, some of them are villagers, but instead you're focusing on another village, a village that's been infested by werewolves, and it's your job as the players are a team of inquisitors that have come to figure out who the werewolves are. The best way to figure out who a werewolf is by starting to kill them. You kill off a person, hey, it's a werewolf or not. And there's tools. You basically go to the villagers' houses, which give you special abilities. You go to the seer's house, which lets you look at one of the villagers to see if it's a werewolf or not. But each player does this, and they're acting whether they're either helping the werewolves or they're against the werewolves. And you don't really know throughout the game until maybe someone's revealed. But even if someone is revealed as a werewolf, they can continue to play. And it's just a really interesting game. It's just a different spin on original Werewolf.
Is it a very deep game, or is it more of a light filler sort of game?
It's somewhere in between. It's certainly it's heavy for a werewolf game. Werewolf games are traditionally very light. There's not a lot of rules. This actually has some resource management. There's role selection. There's certainly a lot of deduction, and there's also the social deduction aspect where you're trying to figure out who's lying and what the intentions of someone are compared to what they're doing.
It's a competitive game. Is there a chance to actually mess up the other players?
Oh, yeah. I mean, certainly you're going to have, so you have, let's say you have 5 players. 2 of them are werewolves, 3 of them are on the villager side. In the beginning, nobody except the werewolves know who's on whose team. So everyone, just making the assumption they're all on my team. I have to because I don't know for sure who's not. And once you do find out if someone's on a werewolf team or not, then you have to kind of read into what it is that they're doing and try to thwart them and prevent them and take roles that they might want to use or just prevent them from helping out the werewolves. And vice versa. If you're a werewolf, you're totally getting in the way of those villagers from discovering who the actual werewolves are in the village that you're investigating.
Well, sounds very, very exciting to me. As a company, you guys have grown the booth space at Spiel quite dramatically. This booth is a lot bigger than the last one I remember. What made you make that decision, so to speak, about making this big?
Oh, well, we probably should have done it last year. Last year we had 2 big releases. We had Suburbia and we had Mutant Meeples, both which did really well. And we didn't have room. We basically, the boxes took up the entire booth and we had people out in the aisle playing. And so this year I decided, we're going to have another set of releases. We need the room. We're big enough now, so we graduated to a larger booth, and we have a very cool banner, and just all sorts of fun stuff that we didn't have before, and a lot more tables, a lot more space in general. And next year we'll probably have even a slightly larger booth because we have even more releases coming out.
And the Spiel has changed premises, has changed buildings. What do you make of the new layout of the convention this year?
Well, I think it's better from my standpoint because before. I think traditionally they had segmented a lot of the different publishers into kind of different types of groups. You kind of had the old school and the bigger publishers like Amigo and Queen and Ravensburger and Schmidt-Spiel all in halls 10, 11, and 12. And some other publishers that have been around for a while got to sneak in with them. And then the newer publishers like myself and even bigger ones now like Z-Man, those were relegated to halls 5 and 9, which are much smaller halls. And so now they've kind of combined all of those together. And so it's a little more democratic than it was before, which is nice. So, we're not off back in a corner as much. We're kind of more out in the open. I prefer this much more. I know this is only going to be this way for a few years, but I love this location. I like the way the booths are set up. now that I'm used to where people are, it's pretty easy to find things too.
Well, I hope that means that you're going to be coming back.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, we'll be here next year.
What's next for you guys? What do you have in the pipeline?
So you'll see next year we'll have another expansion for Suburbia, of course. Well, there's several games coming out next year. There's some other werewolf things that we're working on. There's going to be a follow-up to Suburbia that I think people are going to be very excited about. It's another tile lane game. That's where the similarities to Suburbia end. But a lot of people, it's got the same weight, that same sort of feel. It's not too heavy, it's not too light, kind of a middle weight family strategy game. But I'm really excited about it, and we're working on it now, but it won't be out until next Spiel, so it'll be a while, but it's going to be, I think, an awesome game. I'm really excited about it.
Well, one to look forward to indeed, sir. Thank you very much indeed. Best of luck for the rest of the show, and I look forward to seeing what else you come up with in the future, hopefully not too distant future.
All right, well, thank you very much for talking to me.
There you are. Sorry about that. We're just having a quick break. We've been very hard at work already, interviewing quite a few people that we didn't know were there actually. A lot of new stands and new booths with new games all about, but a lot more work to do. So we're just gonna finish our cup of coffee. Please do go ahead and get yourself a cup of tea, cup of coffee, or whatever you wanna do, and then come back because we have a lot more to show you. We are nowhere near finished yet. See you in a bit.